Hey guys, Collin Chi, certified nutritional consultant, numerologist, bringing you guys another talk today. Today I'm going to be talking about numerology number 5. All right, I'm going to be pulling from astrology, occultism, obviously numerology, geometry, tarot, among other things to really give you an interesting view of this number 5. Hopefully there'll be a lot of information here. So here we go, folks. Let's get to it. Number 5. Okay, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 here. You got 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, number 5 in the very middle of the sequence of numbers. Okay, that's the first interesting thing we see. You see some indecisiveness there. You see choice. You see free will. You see freedom, travel, and change. You see passion. You see all kinds of different things here. And I'm going to get into all the different characteristics. But before I go off too far on all the different characteristics, being that it's in the middle sequence of the numbers here, it's very much a transition number. It's all about change, okay? Transitioning from the middle to the final phase of the sequence of numbers. You have to make a choice here in the middle of where you're going to go for the rest of the 9 numbers here. And then you're going to finish a cycle here, and then you start over at 1 again. Okay, so you see Libra and you see Virgo. In the zodiac, Libra and Virgo are right in the middle of the zodiac, okay? Just like the number 5. You can see both sides of situations, right? So, both sides of situations we see in the yin-yang, right? The yin-yang is basically, look at that. It looks a lot like a number 5, right? Okay? You have the yin-yang. Okay, both sides of situations. Okay, light and dark. It's the 5 senses. It's the conquering and the mastery of the 5 senses with number 5. It's sensitive expression of the emotions. Okay, it's also, you see in the S, you see a number 1. S looks a lot like number 5. S is number 1. So you can have, in a number 5, you can be a number 1 and a number 4. You can be a number 2 and a number 3, like Michael Jordan, number 23, right? Michael Jordan is, that name is equal to a number 5. You can be an 11 and a 3, 113. You can be a 22 and a 1, 221. So we see a lot of different numbers within this number 5, right? So you got to consider the double digits here as well. So 2 and 3, you see 2 is the moon, right? We have the moon, emotions. It's at the very center of the emotional plane in the Pythagorean birth chart. Okay? This is emotions. This is mind. This is physical. Very center of the emotions is very much about sensitive expression of your emotions. Very much about mastering the emotions, mastering the 5 senses, and refining yourself. Number 5s are very refined. You see, again, you see Virgo and Libra. That is the transition also from the I to the we in the zodiac. Okay, very I-oriented here. Okay, this is the 1. This is the many. This is the all. Oops. Okay, so you have number 5 is more focused on many people rather than themselves and rather on just one-to-one relationships. 6, 7, 8, 9, these guys are more focused on humanitarian, everybody, the all, the whole world. But you do have moon here with number 2, emotions, right? So balance. Number 5's in the very middle, so it's considered balanced because it can see both sides of the situation here. I think these guys struggle to actually achieve balance, even though they are balanced in the way that they can see both sides. But because there's so many options with number 5 is the star, goes in every direction, or also the pentagram, right? Goes in every direction because you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? You got the pentagon okay, or upside down. You could see it a lot like a baseball diamond. You know, number 5 is sports. Number 5 is very much sports and sales. Again, you got Michael Jordan. Sales, definitely they can be politicians. Anything associated with freedom, travel, and change. Okay, number 5 is all about freedom, travel, and change. So you could be a traveling salesman, you could be a rep, you could be, you know, any number of things that involve those things. Now you also have, so you got the moon with number 2. Let me get back to this, and then you got the triangle, which is 3. 1, 2, 3, 3 sides. Okay, you got, if you got the triangle and the 2, right? 1, 2, you have an arrow, right? So an arrow is represented very dynamic. The triangle means dynamism, lively. Number 3, this is number 3, this is number 2, like I said. Number 3 is very much like Gemini. It's ruled by Jupiter. So you do have Jupiter here, and you do have the moon. So let me write Jupiter as well. Okay? And then you also have Mercury. Okay? Mercury actually rules number 5. So you're talking about Virgo and Gemini. Okay? You're talking about work. You're talking about health. Gemini is somewhat sociable, scattered, right? You see the scattering in the 5 being the star. You got a starfish. Number 3. So you have a lot of, especially Mercury and Jupiter and the moon, but you can also have Uranus, because that is number 4. Okay? Uranus rules number 4. Okay, if you're the 4 and the 1, right? So the 4 and the 1, 4 is the square, then you can have the 1, right? Or again, you can have the 2 and the 3. So some interesting symbols here, folks. Maybe you're going to play some baseball a lot if you're a number 5. You know, the images and the symbols you see in life around you really tell you something. You know, the angels are our angels, folks. So you need to pay attention to the different symbols you're seeing around you in life. If you've always had the number 5 in your baseball or your or number 3 or number 2 or any of these numbers, number 4 or 1, if those have been active in your life a lot, if those have been your jersey numbers in sports, or for some reason you've always liked the star as a symbol and you use it a lot in your writing or in your, you know, you star, instead of highlighting things in books, you actually star things instead, you know, or, you know, things like that. So you need to pay attention to those things. So Mercury is also 88-day orbit. It's quick. It's the messenger. It is rapid. It's the rapid thinker, the analyzer. You know, it's critical. Number 5 is impatient. It's passionate. It is freedom, travel, change. It's again, sensitive expression of the emotions. It's creative with the Venus. Venus is the Venus is coming from the artistic part of this number 5. Venus is ruling number 6, so there's some number 6 here, and Venus rules Libra, so you have again Libra and Virgo right here. You also have a very competitive person with number 5. They're enthusiastic. They are very much going in every direction. They need to work on making decisions and committing to them better, and sticking with them and specializing in one particular thing. This is if you require balance in your life. This is if you want balance. You don't always have to be balanced. It's not always a value, but in the long run, balance is important if you're going to be healthy. And number 5, because of their intense emotions, sometimes their health, they have health challenges. Virgo is the house of health. So a bunch of things going on here. I'm going to erase a few things so I can fit some other stuff here. Okay, Okay, so you also have, let's see, where was I? Well, again, you get the 2, the 3, the 1, and the 4. Okay, let's just look at the number 5 in comparison to the number 3. It has the bottom is very much the same. Okay, this is receptive, very receptive number, and then it immediately, number 3 is very receptive because the energy comes in this way, but then it immediately gives the energy back, right? Whereas number 5, it's receptive to some degree as well, and the energy is flowing into it, but then it pays it forward. Instead of giving it back, it pays it forward. So it's got their arms and their feet in both sides of the zodiac, in both sides of the world, and psychology and philosophy. So it receives, but then it's also opinionated. Okay, with this addition here, it's opinionated, so it also has this shield here in a way. So it can be a little bit impenetrable, and it can be a little bit difficult as a number, difficult to deal with, because the energy coming here, it actually is blocked. So it's very much balance, yin yang. Number 2 is balance. Okay, looking forward always, and looking backward always, right? But you have the 3 inherent in there, which is the Gemini, the thinker, the analyzer, the logic. Very much childlike, number 3. 5 is fortunate. They can also be good with children and babies because they have this somewhat childlike quality. What else? They are also very much free-spirited. They don't like to be tied down. They need to explore. They need to be adventurous and curious. They're very curious about the unknown. Okay, the unknown, Uranus, and the unconventional. Unconventional is Uranus. Very curious about those things. So they're actually drawn to, or they're either drawn to the abnormal, or the abnormal is drawn to them, or the weird, or things like that. So sometimes that can make them choose the wrong thing, but sometimes, it hurts them, sometimes it harms them, right? Curiosity killed the cat. So you have a lot of curiosity here, the need to explore. You're definitely an explorer, okay? You also see the 11 here, because the 11 is a number 2, right? We saw that. So there's so many interesting things about this number 5. What else can I say? They're all very much about purification and sublimation, okay? Virgo is all about purification, right? Mercury rules Virgo, it rules Gemini, okay? Very much the mastery of sensitive expression, the mastery of their emotions, the mastery of the senses. The 5 is the 5 senses. Okay, 5 represents man also because we have 5 fingers, 5 toes, etc. Okay, number 5 is everywhere in the life of man. So, just a bunch of interesting things, They're also rebellious. You got 1, 5, and 7 are all similar. Okay, these are similar vibrations. So you see the 1 there with the sun, the individual. 5s are enthusiastic and entertainers. They can be actors. So they are somewhat social, and they can be entertaining and clever and witty in social situations. But they have some of that alone, that need to be alone. You got the 1 and the 7 there. Okay, 7 needs to be alone. Number 1 is very much about the self. But you're transmuting self into other with 5 because it's in the middle of the zodiac too. Because it's represented by Virgo and Libra as well as Gemini. So there's a lot going on here, folks. 5s are 1, 5, and 7. They can all be somewhat rigid to some degree. So 5 needs to work on flexibility sometimes. But yet they're a little more flexible than 1 and 7 for sure because they can see both sides of things. What else? They're restless. They're hyperactive because Mercury is the fastest moving planet. very, very hyperactive either mentally or physically. Constantly running around, very busy people. What else? How about some people, some different people? You got Angelina Jolie. You've got Michael Jordan. You've got, Michael Jordan, the name equals a number 5. Angelina Jolie is a life path 5. That's an actor, right? I talk about actors and entertainers. You got Jack Nicholson, another actor, number 5 life path. You've got Abraham Lincoln. You've got Steven Spielberg. You've got a bunch of different people. So Albert Einstein is a day number 5. So, very interesting stuff here. What else? They're very empathetic, number 5, I find. Because they're that Libra Virgo quality. Those people are very empathetic. It's on the feeling, emotional plane. Okay, so there is a lot of emotions there, yet they also are difficult to penetrate, so you don't realize how emotional they really are and how sensitive and intuitive. Okay, number 2 is sensitive, it's intuitive. Okay, you have that inherently in here if you're a number 23, which equals the 5, right? If you're Michael Jordan. Okay, so you're probably going to see a lot of Earth. These guys are very much Earth because Mercury is Virgo. These people need a lot of experiences, though. Freedom, travel, and change. It's the biggest thing here. They need a lot of experiences, and they're always running into new experiences and always doing new things. They're very versatile and adaptable. Okay, number 3 is very adaptable. You saw the 3 there. Number 5 is definitely various and a lot of variety. They think in a lot of different ways. These guys are also very intelligent because you have the intellect with Mercury ruling here. Jupiter, you have that sociability, you have that enthusiasm, you have the philosopher and psychology, right? You have a little bit of that humanitarian with the number 4 if you're number 1 and 4, which equals the 5. Bunch of different things, man. These guys need freedom. They need very much to feel free. So, in relationships, they may have many different partners. They may, be difficult to deal with in relationships because they're constantly changing things up, and a lot of people want that security. And these guys are not that much about security, really. They're kind of just all about exploration. So what else? Let's see if I missed anything. Tiger Woods is also a number 5. You got The Messenger, Vincent van Gogh, and Adolf Hitler. Life Path 5. Whole bunch of things. These guys also preferred the company of the opposite sex because they're represented by the 5 senses. They're sensual. They can be addiction prone, drugs, alcohol, food. These things, these guys are trying to master over and instead express the divine, and master the material realm, and start the process towards number 6, which is other people, and it's family and home and creativity, imagination. It's mind. So you have mind, but you also have emotions with 5 because you have mind from Mercury, but you're on the emotional plane. So those are the 2 main things. But you have the physical too. You have everything kind of with that number 5, because it's right in the middle. It sees both sides, okay? So just a whole bunch of things. Sigourney Weaver's also number 5. Steve Martin. See what else? These people aren't really a follower. They're more of and they're not really that conservative. They're pretty liberal, I would say. They can be nervy. They can be fidgety. Okay, take some taurine. Okay, Taurus, earth sign, very earthy. Take some taurine to relax the nerves. Take some magnesium. Take some things like that. Very much the arbiter of change, like I said. always changing other people, changing themselves, somebody comes into their life. People that come into the number 5's life at certain times are usually coming into their life because they're in a transition period. Okay, a new person coming into a number 5 life path life, that person's going to be usually in a transition moment. Passionate, like I said, impatient, impulsive. These guys actually need to practice some discipline in order to conquer those 5 senses. The more disciplined they are, according to some people, the more free they can actually feel, and the more security they actually have, as opposed to, just going and doing whatever the hell you want. If you apply some discipline, sometimes these guys will actually feel a little more free, because they're more focused on one particular thing, and they're not so scattered. The yin yang. What else? These guys are easily bored. They're procrastinating. They're sometimes indecisive because they can see both sides. There can be some depression. These guys are fortunate. They're somewhat royal also. You're talking about refinement. Refinement's all about, that high class, that purity, that knowing what you want in life and what you don't want, and knowing who you are and who you're not. Okay, number 5s are pros at this stuff. Okay, they're very refined. They are royal in that sense, in that people see them as this royal kind of figure, because they're refined and they have manners and they have, all that high class kind of stuff going on. So, whole bunch of things, folks. What else can I say? I think that's pretty much it. Number 5 is, you guys could have a career in writing or speaking or, like I said, sales, sports. The number 5 is the super salesman. It's pretty much it. So, I hope you got something out of that. A lot of different symbols. And, if you'd like a numerology consultation, hit me up at collinchi@gmail.com. I know this seemed a bit scattered. I'm not usually quite this scattered, but it's because I'm under the vibration of the number 5. My mind is going in every direction, okay? So normally my talks are a little bit more organized than this, I would say, but hopefully you got something out of it. Hit me up at collinchi@gmail.com. I'll put a link in the description below for a numerology or astrology consultation or nutritional consultation. Also, check out some of my t-shirts on numerology. There's a link below in the description as well. Like and subscribe. And as always, rise.